Hey, I'm Lee from Jellyfielders, and today's Call the Shots Director's Cut is with Cressy Landless. Cressy, do you want to say hello and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, hi there. Thanks, Louise. I am Cressy Landless, and I am a happiness coach. And my company is called The Art of Happiness. Do you want
Okay.
a little bit more?
Yeah. Tell us a bit more. Tell us what you do. How do you make people happy?
Okay, so to give you a little bit of a background into how it all started, for me on this journey was I wasn't very happy, and I'd actually just got divorced, and I really noticed that I didn't actually like how I was feeling, and I didn't want to feel bitter. And a lot of people around me wanted me to be bitter and unhappy and really take revenge on my husband who'd done some stuff he shouldn't have done. And so that was how I started. And I actually created for myself a system of not delving into the murky, unhappy bits that were very tempting for me, those strong emotions that were pulling me. Anxiety, fear, hatred. I didn't like it and I didn't want to be there. So I developed this system of, I used to call it staying above the line. And I actually set up something called holistic life coaching with no training, because I wanted to help other people who were getting divorced not be bitter and feel that hatred and anger. And it bombed. It was hopeless. It bombed, and I got a few cards. I actually had to send somebody's money back, and it was really, really awful. And then I did a lot of different stuff for quite a long time, different jobs, and did different things. And then about 2014, various things happened, and I got divorced again. Obviously got remarried, and I got divorced again. And I thought, right, I'm going to train and I'm going to do this thing properly. And so that's sort of really how I got here.
So what I think is really interesting is, I mean, I've met a lot of coaches over the years, and I've met a lot of people that do kind of happiness coaching or well-being coaching. And I love the fact that you're talking about that kind of line. And I think one of the really dangerous things is obviously people kind of like, when you get into that mindset of hatred or anything like that, it doesn't really go up. You don't go up from that. It just makes you feel worse and keep coming down and drags you down further. So do you want to explain a little bit about that line? How do you have methods?
So, well, I don't actually use the line anymore, because I have been properly trained in psychosynthesis coaching. And I actually, I mean, I do have should I use my egg like I showed you a little bit earlier?
Yeah. So I thought this was really fascinating, because as we've discussed before, I suffer quite a lot from social anxiety, especially people coming into my space. So what you were talking about, your little egg, go through and explain us the egg, because I really like that analogy.
So I hope everyone can see this, but so this is actually, so my training is psychosynthesis, which is a positive psychology which was created by somebody called Roberto Assagioli back in the early 20th century. And he worked with Jung and Freud, and Jung was all about up here, above the line stuff, and Freud was all about everything comes from sex and the murky stuff below. And Assagioli thought, why don't we combine the two and make it holistic? And he created this egg. Now, so down here, which is what I was calling below the line, even though I had no idea, this is our lower unconscious, and that is all the experiences that you've had that you don't remember, but they actually have a huge bearing on your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually driving you quite a lot of the time, even though you don't recognize it.
Is that what you might call your gut instinct? It's where you're taking previous experiences and your subconscious is telling you how to react in current situations, kind of?
It's not your gut instinct. That's something different. That's your intuition, which is something completely different. And actually that comes from here. This is the superconscious. So
Okay.
this is where all of your potential is, and this is where, so what in psychosynthesis, what we're aiming to do is to bring your higher self down to be manifesting as yourself, which is your I. And when people talk about being in the flow and, you know, really in that creative phase of, you know, what that we don't often get into, but when we do, everything goes great. That manifesting as, so this is you, this is your soul, if you like, and this is your human part of you, and we're 50-50. So this is the manifestation. So when you're truly happy, that's what's happening. But what happens here, these are things that have happened over the course of your life. So things that when you were very little, even as a baby, and in your quest for survival, you have created certain experiences and certain ways of being and coping and behaviors that actually you still usually probably use those behaviors today, but you don't know where they've come from. But down here, buried in your lower unconscious, they are still with you. So what we do in psychosynthesis is we access through various, you know, really through talk and some exercises, you know, we access that. So bringing that to your conscious mind allows you to address it, and the things that don't go right for you now, and now I'm going to say the things that we do recognize are things like anxiety, imposter syndrome that happens to a lot of business people. You know, they just don't believe that they should be there, but of course they should be there, but there's something way back that is telling them that they shouldn't be there, and they don't know what it is. And when they know what it is, then they can start to understand. It's not even getting rid of, it's an understanding of it.
So I guess it's kind of like all those anxieties and everything, they can come from, if it's hidden, then it can be as small as, you know, someone telling you when you're a kid that that's not good enough, and
Exactly.
that manifests over years to become like social imposter syndrome and things like that. Because I recognise that a lot when we're doing a lot of networking. We see a lot of people, especially when people are new to the group, you can often see that they feel a bit like they don't belong there. And I think that it's really interesting to understand that from an outside perspective of how you can help people with that.
It takes a little bit of work. And that's why, you know, I like working with people over a period of, you know, 3 months really, minimum, because it's it's completely life-changing. So, but what you can do if you recognize, so you know you have imposter syndrome, say, and you do not like standing up at a big breakfast networking, physically there, a lot of men in suits, say, or a lot of very smart ladies in their blue dresses and their blue high heels, and you go in, if you're me, you go in your jeans and a t-shirt, and whoa, I shouldn't be here. And there might be a case for saying, no, you shouldn't be that. And so part of it is recognizing this. I mean, I've had this particular experience, you know, I did go into a breakfast networking like that in my jeans, and I did actually recognize, maybe this isn't my crew, maybe this isn't where I should be. These people maybe are not the people that I'm going to be able to help. Or maybe actually beneath their surface, I can help them. So for Louise, for you, example, say, if you go somewhere and you feel incredibly uncomfortable, and I have used this quite a lot, when you walk into a room full of people, I can guarantee you this, they are not looking at you. They're not even thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves, how they feel, how the impact they're making. They're not even noticing you standing there terrified in the corner, or me, or anyone. because they're worried about themselves. And this is a really good key, I think, to dealing with any form of anxiety to do with other people. Social anxiety, or any anxiety, you know, my business isn't great, or I'm not good enough, whatever it is, no one's worried about you. They're not. All they're worried about is what you can do for them.
Yeah.
So when you start focusing on them and stop focusing on yourself, you can, and it takes some practice, but you know, what can I do for you? How can I help you? What you know, maybe this person isn't as confident as they look.
I think there's a big attitude out there of like that kind of fake it till you make it type thing that people do, and I think that can build up really big walls with people, especially who are feeling anxious in those environments. Because I mean, I've walked into meetings, and to me, actually, a lot of the anxiety I feel in that imposter syndrome isn't about the people there so much as the venue and the type of place it is. And I think that I hear a lot of people talking about not fitting in with those people, but to me, it's like literally a place that I feel I don't fit in. So I kind of understand people kind of going into that situation. What I've always found helps when I've been running networking events is to look for the wallflower and approach them. And if you're someone who's got the confidence to do so, then you can, even if it's not helping them in the long run, like you can do, I think in short bursts, in short networking events, it's really easy to spot those people that might need a bit of extra confidence and be able to approach them first.
Absolutely. And I'm always, for me, myself, you know, I'm a rescuer and I rescue people. That's probably why I do what I do. But I'm so aware when I'm in a room full of people, if there's one person, even in a conversation, a group, you know, one person who's finding it very difficult to join in. And, you know, I actually have been there myself. I think we've probably all been there. So just lending a helping hand is going to help you as much as them. You've got an ally then, apart from anything else. And also maybe they'll be interested in your business. You have no idea.
Or even their network be interested in your business as well. So people they know might be able to help you.
You just never know. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I have taught my children is talk to everyone, smile at everyone, because you could be talking to your future boss. You have no idea who anyone is. And, you know, I say to them, actually, the geek that you think's a geek now, he's going to end up rich and possibly famous. So be friends with him now. Yeah. Just never know, do you?
Carried along on that journey. I think that's absolutely fascinating. I think that's some really helpful advice, especially in the networking circuits that we move in together and that I've got a lot of colleagues and friends in, is that how do you feel that's changed with the online environment and more online networking? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's for some people, especially the shyer people, I think it's been really quite good. But even for for me, I'm quite outgoing and I don't want to go through a day with not talking to anyone. So I think that online networking is good. You can jump on a meeting if you think, I need to chat to some people, or I've got an idea I want to put out there. I've got an offer I want to put out there. I think online networking is fantastic. But I'll tell you something funny. Yesterday, I was at an online meeting and somebody was in their bed. They were actually lying in their bed. It wasn't that early. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning, but they were in their bed.
Why not?
I know, it's so funny. I know.
To be honest, I sit on my bed a lot to do them because it's like one of the most comfortable places in my house to do the meetings, but I do try and dress it up a bit so it doesn't look in pyjamas.
What do you like online? Or
I love the online meetings. I found that to me, one of the biggest anxieties about going to the actual in-person meetings and things like that is the actual going there. It's the finding the venue, the travelling there. You're probably going either at an awkward time of the day or you're going during rush hour. So to me, it's the getting there. Once I'm there, it's fine. But what I've always found from a personal opinion on dealing with anxiety at networking events and things like that is if you take a role on, so you're a visitor host or you're signing people in or you're part of the team, then you automatically have a persona to stand behind that isn't you. You're there as a representative of that networking group or that organisation instead. And so inviting people into that meeting and talking to people is kind of a bit easier. I found that hiding behind that is one way of dealing with it.
Yes, that's exactly it, isn't it? So when you're worrying about other people, you can't worry about yourself. There's only room for one of us in this anxiety, and it's going to be on you. And I think I would like honestly to say to you, Louise, you really don't look anxious. You look very confident. And when you did your talk the other day, you look very confident. And so what that actually tells me about you is that you are very confident in what you do. You're confident in your subject matter. And that is part of you. If you are feeling this anxiety, and this is a good tip actually, if you do feel anxious about something, focus on something that makes you feel confident. So an area, even if it's something completely disconnected to what you're actually going to talk about, because we get what we focus on. So if we want to focus on the fact that it's raining all day, we will see our rain clouds. But, we could focus on the fact that, oh, great, I can cozy up inside. I've got an excuse to put the heater on and it's all warm and nice. And aren't I lucky to have a nice, warm, dry space to be in? Yeah. Then you get the different, you literally get what you focus on. So that would be a tip for me for anyone that suffers from anxiety at networking, whether it's online or in person. Just purely focus on other people. And actually, I do that when I'm doing my 40 seconds. I don't have anything planned about my 40 seconds because I want to listen to what other people are saying. And the way I encourage myself to do that, if you like, is I think I'm going to take my 40 seconds from what everyone else says. So I will pick up on something that someone else has said and I'll link it in to them, which is taking the attention right off me because I'm saying it's so great. I hear what Bob says and blah, blah, blah. So, and if you are worried about doing your 40 seconds, which is frightening for a lot of people, you can do that. You can have a rough idea. I think it's much better to fumble your way through, be authentic, be yourself, show some vulnerability. Everyone will love it. Rather than have your script that you're reading that comes out wooden and we get no sense of who you are or actually really what you're offering.
And I think you're only going to learn to be better at doing those sorts of things when you put yourself out there and you move away from the script and you are talking authentically. It's only then that you can become less rigid and actually more natural at talking and things like that. So it's a really, really helpful tip. I think we've been talking for about 20 minutes now, so I'm just going to ask you, yes, how can people find more information about you and what sort of people can you help? Who should come and speak to you?
Okay, so I love working with entrepreneurs who have got a little bit stuck, either in their life, their relationship, or with their business. Because for me, it's all connected. It's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. One runs into the other. So I love the entrepreneurial mindset. I want to work with people who want help, who want to move forward. So that's who I love working with. You can get in touch with me. My website is www.cressy-landless.com, CRESSYLANDLESS. My email address is cressy@cressy-landless.com. There's a booking page on my website. Just any which way you want to. I've got a Facebook group called Creating the Art of Happiness. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere.
I'm everywhere. Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is we'll include all your links at the bottom of this video in the description below. So if anybody wants to reach out to Cressy and get some help with their anxiety or just moving forwards, then I really, really encourage you. Cressy has got so much energy and so much personality, as you can see, and it's been absolutely amazing to talk to you today. So thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully I'll speak to you again soon anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Louise. And all the blessings to you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Cressy. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.